Hello and welcome back to another Xenoblade Chronicles X video. It's time for another funny haha meme build because I've been enjoying those and I don't know, they're just fun to do. So in this video I'm going to be taking on Nardacyon the Shadowless with pretty much all of my damage coming from Reflect. This build is by no means good, there's a million better ways to approach this fight than the way I am today, but this actually did work out better than I expected to and it's quite a bit of fun in all honesty, so figured I would go ahead and make a video over it. So for the actual gear that I'm running, it doesn't matter too much, but I'll kind of go through it anyways. For my ranged weapon, I'm running an assault rifle, and for my melee weapon, I'm running a photon saber. I could have also run a dual guns for the ranged weapon, but I find assault rifle just works a little bit nicer for what I want to do here. And then I'm running the photon saber just because it has the best supporting arts of any of the melee weapons that I could pick from. So my battle traits on these don't really matter too much. I'm just running a ton of ranged accuracy so I can hit auto attacks for phase 2, so I can reflect a spike back at him for just some free extra damage. And then I'm running just a bunch of arts gain TP and overdrive count up because, while neither of those are really needed per se, they are both kind of nice to have. Arts gain TP isn't super important because I will be using Essence Exchange, but any amount of free TP economy is always nice, and there's really no other weapon augments that I need, so I figured I would just dump into that. Then overdrive count up is nice because I'm not going to be dealing damage with arts, so having an easy and quick way to build my overdrive count is really nice. My armor doesn't matter too much. The big things that matter are that I'm lowering my either beam or electric resistance. Those are the two that you're going to get the most damage out from in terms of your reflect onto Nardacyon. And then you also want to have a reflect thermal and reflect electric augment so that with everything combined, you'll be able to reflect beam, electric, and thermal since those are Nardacyon's 3 attacking attributes. Other than that, I'm just running a whole bunch of reflect damage up augments just to boost the damage that is being reflected back to make this fight not take an eternity. Next, I am running, for my arts, I'm running Astral Heal, Essence Exchange, Astral Librium, Power Dive, Astral Purge, and Decoy Round. Astral Purge and Decoy Round are really just here for some easy TP generation early on in the overdrive. They don't matter too much because, as I mentioned, Essence Exchange is going to be my main form of TP economy, but there's no reason not to run them, so I am running them. Power Dive is going to be useful to basically force evasion during Nardacyon's 2 attacks, which hit through Reflect, which are Asmodal Photon and Asmodal Finale. If I wanted to survive those without either Power Dive or some sort of a decoy art, either Ghost Walker or Ghost Factory, really just anything that grants total evasion, I would need a whole bunch of beam resistance, and that would greatly cut into the damage that I am reflecting back, so I would rather not do that if at all possible. Astrolabium is my reflect aura. This will let me activate reflect so I can reflect beam, electric, and thermal, which is what this build is based on. Essence Exchange is for TP economy, not a whole lot to say about that. And Astral Heal is just an easy way to get my HP back so that I can use Essence Exchange again. Skills again aren't super important. I'm running Fast Forward and Trigger Happy just to keep my arts on faster cooldown. They're not really needed, but I don't have anything else to run. I'm also running Steady Hand to boost ranged accuracy. Again, similar thing. I don't really have anything better to run, and it just kind of increases my accuracy a little bit, so there's no reason not to run it. And finally, Double Reflect. This is the only skill that really matters. It gives me extra 100% additive to my reflect damage, which is going to be helping me with my damage output. So now that all that the build talk is out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the battle. I will see you in a second. So as with any fight against Nardacyon, we gotta start off by blowing Naham over here. And I do have to be a little bit careful whenever I weaken him down because I am using a disc bomb skill, which is definitely capable of just absolutely destroying him, even though you're not supposed to be able to kill him, because Xenoblade X is a very good game. And you're going to want to lock onto one of his legs, because that just makes it a lot easier to keep on camera what art he's using. And since you do have to power dive through a few of his arts, that is something that is very useful. So Thunder Flash is pretty good to see because not only does it do a bunch of damage which gets reflected back to him, but it also gives you shock to reflect back at, which also does a pretty good chunk of damage every time it ticks. As the first attack that eating a power dive through, Asmodal Photon. It's pretty easy to time for that art. You pretty much just time it right before it shoots out, and it's pretty lenient because it's not a very long animation. Let's go ahead and build up some overdrive timing. Hopefully we should be getting into phase 2 pretty soon. There's the upshift, which means Asmodal Finale should be coming out pretty soon. So the timing to actually dive through that can be a little bit awkward. I like to time it a little bit after the 4 individual lights come on his chest from when it's just a big light, which is a horrible description, but if you kind of watch it back, you can probably tell what I mean. And as I mentioned before, I am actually going to be using some auto attacks here, just simply because he does have a counter spike during this phase, and that just gives a little bit of extra free damage to help whittle him down a little bit faster. Should be moving on to phase 3 pretty soon. Yep, there we go, which means the spike should be gone now. I'll go ahead and double check. Yeah. There's nothing to do with now except for wait for him to kill himself. The nice thing about being in phase 3 is that the electric attack is a lot more powerful, which means he is much more efficient at killing himself now. Almost didn't have my power dive up in time there. Yeah, now it's just a waiting game, waiting for Nardacyon to finish himself off. Can't have it aggro another enemy. And there goes Nardacyon, and I guess I can wait for this guy to take himself down too. As you can see, this enemy is a lot less efficient at killing himself, not only because I'm not using, he's using more thermal, but also just simply because he's a lot weaker than Nardacyon, which means that the damage being reflected back to him is a lot lower, so that you can kind of see there the difference in how the difference in the power of the enemy makes a big difference in how much damage you deal back. So I guess that's a decent thing to showcase. But with all that out of the way, I do hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found it, if not interesting, at least a little bit amusing. With all that out of the way, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Thanks.